Could the Big Ten Conference expand even further by 2026 by as many as 6 teams? And when they do that, could the Big 12, the conference my team is in, get rated? We're going to talk about that, and we're going to do it right after this word from my sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Dutch Miller Automotive, where friends and family pricing means you get the best deal right up front on any new or pre-loved vehicle in stock every time. With brands like Chevrolet, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Kia, Hyundai, Ford, GMC, Buick, and Subaru, the Dutch Miller Automotive family is always growing and ready to put you in the car or truck you've been searching for. Check out our inventory across West Virginia at DutchMillerAuto.com or come in today to the home of friends and family pricing, only at a Dutch Miller Automotive store near you. What is up? Come on in, make yourself comfortable. Welcome into another episode of Couz's Corner. Belly yourself up to the bar and let me pour you out this shot of top shelf college football content. On tap in today's episode, we're once again talking conference realignment. And yes, I'm not in my normal studio. But if you're new here, I want to let you know I am a West Virginia fan. But if you don't like West Virginia, that's okay, because I also cover conference realignment and I cover the Big 12. If you like any of that, hit the subscribe button. Stick around because you might enjoy this video. Please make sure you like the video if you do enjoy it. And please share this with your friends and let me know below in the comment section what you think about this topic. And the topic is just what you saw in the thumbnail. Could the Big 12 get rated by the Big 10 by 2026? This is something I never thought I'd see, something I didn't think I'd see, especially anytime soon. And for disclosure, I know very little about this source, which I will share in a minute. So I want you to tell me in the comments if you are familiar with this guy. Let me know. Is he a reliable source, or do you think he's just throwing stuff against the wall? I want your thoughts in the comments. So let's go ahead and pull it up. The source for this is Mr. James Yoder, the founder of Chat Sports, a very big college football channel, actually a very big sports channel on YouTube. And he also hosts Michigan Football Report on YouTube, which is part of the Chat Sports Network. Mr. Yoder put this tweet out on February 28th on Twitter. It says, or on X, it says, well-placed source. Big Ten will expand again before 2026 season, adding at least 2, but possibly as many as 6 more teams. In an effort to fill in their national footprint, schools in Florida, Texas, the Southwest, and Mid-Atlantic regions are a priority. Which schools? Outside of Notre Dame being the obvious top target, the short list of schools being considered are, in order, Florida State, no big surprise there. But here's where the surprises come in. TCU, so they can get the Dallas market. Arizona State for the Phoenix market. Right off the bat, of the first 4 schools mentioned, 3 are from the Big 12. Then he lists Virginia, North Carolina. Neither of those are a surprise. They've been talked about for months. Then you see Georgia Tech because of the Atlanta market. Then you see Miami, and then, lo and behold, another Big 12 team, Kansas. Others that might get included as a package deal with another school but aren't top priority are Duke and NC State, Virginia Tech, and Clemson. We all know that Duke and NC State could potentially be a package deal with North Carolina, especially NC State, depending on what that North Carolina board may decide to do. And then also Virginia Tech, we've heard rumblings that they may be a package deal and may be tied to Virginia, and maybe they need to be in the same conference. Now, this is something I had not heard. I had never heard TCU's name come up, at least not by any reliable sources, for any potential Big Ten expansion. Had not heard Arizona or Arizona State. Now, Kansas we've heard for a while. I think they made an effort to try to get into the Big Ten back after Texas and Oklahoma left the Big 12 a couple of years ago, or announced they were leaving the Big 12 a couple of years ago. And Kansas is an AAU institution. Until the 4 corner schools came in, they were the only AAU institution in the Big 12. So it kind of made sense. Well, now we have Arizona State, who are also AAU institutions. TCU's not AAU. So that one was kind of surprised me. Florida State's not even AAU, but we've heard before that the Big Ten, even though they like AAU schools, it's not a requirement. Now, depending on who you ask, some say, yes, it's not a requirement, but most of the presidents want it. So, who knows? I don't know what to believe anymore. This is all just speculation at this point. And again, I have no idea who John Yoder is. Don't know how reliable he is. Seems to be connected. But again, just because someone has a big YouTube following doesn't necessarily mean they're well connected. Now, the Florida State one doesn't surprise me because I've heard Greg Flugar, who is someone I trust, because he's been right on a lot of things. We have heard Florida State's name pop up a lot. So that one's not a surprise. Obviously, Virginia, North Carolina's not a surprise. Miami's not a surprise. Kansas really isn't even a surprise. The rest of them on this list, to me, are a surprise. Now, if this would happen, theoretically, if this would happen, this would obviously gut the Big 12. You would lose 3 of the 4 schools you just brought in. You would use the Dallas-Fort Worth market. You would lose Kansas, who's your top basketball brand right now, arguably. That would be devastating to this league and would let's just face it, it would kill the league if all those schools left. Now, probably wouldn't get them all. And we've heard that North Carolina is actually the top target of the Big Ten, obviously outside of Notre Dame. So I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure how much I trust this list for the simple fact that I think North Carolina would be a higher priority than TCU. Yes, TCU's in Dallas-Fort Worth. But let's face it, TCU does not even have the largest fan following in that city. The Texas Longhorns do. I'm not sure how many TCU fans there are in Dallas-Fort Worth. TCU is not that big of a school. They don't have a huge fan following. They have a passionate fan following. They're a very good program, very good athletic department, very good school. They're a fellow Big 12 school who I have a lot of respect for. But their fan following is not massive. At least not by Big 10 standards, in my opinion. Now, they're plenty large enough for a Big 12 or an ACC, but not the Big 10, in my opinion. Also, Arizona, not seeing how they would be attractive to the Big 10. Arizona's a basketball school. Big 10 is not a basketball conference. They're a football conference. Football drives the bus in all the power conferences, but especially the Big 10 and the SEC. Not sure how Arizona is above North Carolina or Virginia on that list. But I will say this. As a West Virginia fan, I actually think a move like this, if they would take most of these schools, I actually think this would be a good thing for West Virginia, and here's why I say that. It may not sound like it on the surface because you're thinking, but why would it be good, Couz? The Big 12 would collapse if this happened. Well, I think in order for West Virginia to get a seat at the Power 2 table, we need as much chaos as possible. For example, if the Big 10 would go out and get TCU, Kansas, Arizona State out of the Big 12, yes, the Big 12 would likely collapse, but what would the SEC do? The SEC would likely counter that, if not be proactive, if they thought the Big 10 was doing that. They would go grab some schools. They might grab North Carolina before the Big 10 did. They might even grab a Miami. They might grab a Virginia and a Virginia Tech. Guess who else they might grab? They might grab West Virginia. Now, I haven't shared this yet, but I have had a couple different sources reach out to me and tell me that the SEC is still interested in West Virginia if they grow past 20 teams. West Virginia is an attractive brand to the SEC. They may not be as attractive as North Carolina or a Clemson or a Florida State or even a Virginia for that matter. But they are attractive if they expand past 20 because, and there are a lot of reasons for that. I know a lot of you are probably laughing. A lot of you people who aren't West Virginia fans or don't follow West Virginia are probably laughing hysterically right now, maybe even falling out of your chair because you think I'm full of it. But folks, we almost got in the SEC several years ago. When Missouri got in, it came down to Missouri and West Virginia. Missouri got the call because of the St. Louis market and larger markets, larger TV markets. Well, they're already in. West Virginia brings a very passionate fan base. The culture of the West Virginia fan base would fit in well with the SEC. Very passionate fans, large fan following. It has an SEC feel to it. May not be quite as large a fan base as some of the SEC programs, but it has an SEC feel. And another thing the SEC likes to do is they like to get teams from contiguous states. They already have a school in the SEC from the state of Kentucky in University of Kentucky. Well, guess what state touches Kentucky? West Virginia. So why would it not work? Why would it not work to go grab West Virginia? Maybe even grab Virginia Tech to get that rivalry in the league. Maybe even grab Pitt with them. Who knows? But why would it not make sense if the SEC does go past 20 teams? Now, I don't think West Virginia gets into SEC if they only expand to 20, because I think there are at least 4 teams ahead of West Virginia on that list, if not more. But if they go to 24 teams, which they might do if the Big Ten does what we just talked about, what James Yoder talked about, if his sources are correct, if the Big Ten does that, I think that West Virginia has a good shot to get in the SEC if they expand to 24 teams or even 22 teams or whatever they decide to go to. I think it's extremely, extremely reasonable to think that. A team like Oklahoma State might could even get in at that point into the SEC. Kansas, if Kansas doesn't get taken by the Big Ten, they might get in the SEC because they are a contiguous state with Missouri. So why not? Why not? I want to hear your thoughts. You let me know in the comment section. Is this a cockamamie idea? Is this absolutely out in left field somewhere? And also, if you are familiar with James Yoder, let me know. Is he a reliable source or not? Has he been accurate on things in the past? Because I honestly didn't know who this guy was until this came across my Twitter feed. But I thought it was interesting. I almost didn't even do the video because I didn't want to start rumors. But I feel like as a content creator who talks about realignment in the Big 12, I thought this was something I should talk about. I don't necessarily believe this will happen. I don't believe it'll happen. I do think it's possible, but I just don't see TCU, Arizona, and Arizona State being higher on the Big Ten's radar than North Carolina and Virginia. I don't see it. But who knows? I could be wrong. I want to know what you think. Am I wrong or is James Yoder wrong? Let me know. Also want to give a VIP member shout out to my paid VIP members you see scrolling along the bottom of the screen now. Todd Biela, Denny Allen, Brandon Bailey, and Big E7375. If you want to join this exclusive club, hit the join button below. It's an easy way to support my show, to donate to my channel. Just $2.99 a month or $4.99 a month comes right out of your bank account. Very easy. It's also a way to take advantage of some perks. Go hit the join button and you'll see what all the perks are, including early access to some videos and videos that have limited ads on them. If you want to see another video about Big 12 and conference realignment, you can check this one out right here on the screen now. Have a top shelf day. Q Country Roads.